Adapting characters who aren't that famous, not overpowered, and frankly not that pretty is definitely a risky move. But it's the risk Marvel needs right now to prove they can still tell a gripping story. That they don't have to lean on comic book name recognition and preloaded fan love. At the same time, a psychologically driven film with a slightly darker streak is exactly the spearhead the studio should have tried earlier, now that its loyal audience has, well, grown up. Because of that, at first glance, this movie about a ragtag bunch of anti-heroes looks like just a paving stone on the road toward Fantastic Four. In reality, it's a key piece Kevin Feige absolutely doesn't want to fumble. So how does Thunderbolts make itself interesting with a roster full of punchers and shooters? Especially coming after a Captain America 4 that tried to deliver political messaging but ended up feeling naive. Will the Phase's new batons stumble by reaching for depth? Let's look for the answer in today's video. Note, I'll try not to spoil the plot, but if you want the purest experience, go see the movie first, and then come back. The film follows 6 supporting players who've all shown up elsewhere in the MCU. Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, John Walker, Red Guardian, Ghost, and Taskmaster, each of whom shares one thing. They're stuck in a boring, listless lull. We're quickly tossed into a chance incident where the whole group discovers they've essentially been covert assets of Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, the CIA director. And she's looking to quietly erase these extra-legal operatives now that the government is poking around. On top of that, de Fontaine is running a secret program called Sentry, aiming to create a super being with overwhelming power. What starts as a mission to save their own skins from a scheming political heavyweight drags the Thunderbolts into a full-blown battle to save New York City from an opponent they almost certainly can't beat. Opening with a confession from Yelena, Natasha Romanoff's sister, that the future ahead feels utterly meaningless. The film signals early that the next 2 hours will burrow into the psyches of characters with dark pasts. That lands even harder because the villain's Sentry, as shown in the trailer, wields a power that traps victims in a zone of darkness, a direct metaphor for psychological trauma and depression. It's not hard to see that Thunderbolt's success lives or dies on whether the wars inside these anti-heroes' heads are compelling enough for audiences. That sounds like a tall order. But Marvel actually has a lot of templates to crib from. First, there's their old friend James Gunn, who, by now has delivered 5 quality Misfit Team stories across both superhero universes. And director Jake Schreier is in excellent form. After the Smash series Beef, he knows his way around hot-headed, impulse-driven characters. Leaning into the latecomer advantage, Thunderbolts kicks off in a way that's reminiscent of The Suicide Squad, a misfit crew controlled by a high-ranking bureaucrat. The early twist lands right away. Everything moves smoothly, and by the time the team finally squares up to the antagonist, I was still sufficiently engaged and curious. The split happens once each member needs their own growth arc. From the second act on, the unavoidable problem shows itself. Not every character in the Thunderbolts is equally interesting. Let's start with the ones who work. Given the runtime to shine and functioning as de facto team captain, Yelena Belova is hands down the brightest spot in the film, the most memorable character here. She starts as the laid-back girl who takes missions just to kill time, but she's a far cry from her bland turn in 2021's Black Widow. Her beats are carefully, thoroughly developed. Rather than rehashing Red Room trauma, Yelena now wrestles with whether she should follow Natasha's path into the light, caring about others and fighting for a clear purpose. That dovetails with her needing to mesh with a team that's only ever been good working solo, and it shows exactly how profoundly Natasha still shapes her. The movie conveys this without hammering us with exposition, reminding us family is still in her heart. I love how opening up to others becomes the springboard for deepening the villain's Sentry too. Their dynamic is compelling from their very first scene. Personally, I didn't find Bob's backstory, Sentry's human side, all that surprising, but his exchanges with Yelena, wry, playful, and deeply human, stick the landing. Thankfully, the film uses that bond between two outcasts as fuel to ignite the final act crescendo. I'm firmly shipping these two now. All told, Yelena is a great template for future MCU entries. She doesn't have to suddenly become noble or deliver clunky moral speeches. Her change of purpose springs from simple, everyday motivations. By the end, even with a larger role, she doesn't shed her signature sarcasm or pound the lectern about big, abstract issues. The very thing that, as we've seen, can be a double-edged Sword that kept Sam Wilson's Captain America from feeling weighty. I also really like how the film reopens Yelena's past. Instead of just describing the misery of Red Room training, Schreier chooses a fresh angle. Yelena was always top of the class, and she felt sad watching classmates who couldn't keep up get beaten. Small details like that make her fascinating, in a way that separates her from Natasha, who's already cemented in fans' hearts. And isn't a new angle exactly what made Loki or Moon Knight feel so distinct from the MCU pack? If I have one gripe, it's that we still get the occasional therapy speak exchange. Awkward pep talks about self-love that feel forced. Luckily, Florence Pugh, after Midsommar, Dune, and Oppenheimer hardly needs to prove anything, keeps those moments from sinking. Riding the wave of Yelena's success as adoptive dad Red Guardian. Honestly, the character is still as thinly sketched as in 2021, but his shameless hunger for fame is at least a unique flavor. Like every teen movie, Thunderbolts needs a clown, and an old guard super soldier dad dreaming of a comeback is a funny device. His comedy quotient ramps up over time. Even if you don't belly laugh, David Harbour's charm makes the guy hard not to like. And having both father and daughter on the same squad gives the Thunderbolts a quirky identity. There's room to expect more fresh beats from Red Guardian down the line. John Walker is more predictable, since the Falcon and the Winter Soldier already took him through a mostly complete arc. Here, the recast Captain America serves as a supporting player, keeping his trademark arrogance to spike the jokes. Flashbacks work nicely too, reminding us he's a man with a wife and kid at home. That both explains his prickly, sharp-tongued demeanor and shows the no-win bind he's in. One super strength can't solve. In a similar supporting lane, Bucky Barnes mostly assists this time out. That makes sense. He's fully formed and widely familiar. Everyone knows the Winter Soldier saga by heart. So just seeing him show up cool as ever while shepherding the next generation is enough to juice scenes and quietly close out his lone wolf years. In the end, the Thunderbolts might be the perfect home for a reformed assassin fighting alongside people who share his scars. That said, looking ahead, the studio probably needs a fresher direction for him. The joins the house to assimilate to normal life thread doesn't leave much of a mark. In contrast, Ava Starr, Ghost, despite having plenty of potential, gets too little time. I like her new suit and slick moves, and I like that she's become funny. But her motivation feels fuzzy. Janet cured her cellular phase condition in Ant-Man and the Wasp, so we get why she trusts more and acts kinder up front. But it still feels like she needs one decisive shove to truly bond with the Thunderbolts. It's a shame the film doesn't tap Bill Foster, her father figure, a thread that could have paid off. She even triggers a plot twist early on, which the film only glances off. She seems neither especially troubled nor remorseful. Understandable. Though, this script is juggling a lot of people. Maybe Ava's being held for later projects. There is one character Thunderbolts mishandles, Queenpin Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. In previous MCU entries, she's played as a sly, enigmatic operator. Here she's oddly passive, and she makes a string of rookie mistakes. Why would a critical, erase the assassins be exposed to some random shady driver, who then gets a full view of the CIA director? No trusted chauffeur? And how does she think she'll easily take out Yelena, John Walker, Ghost, several of the world's top killers, with such a slapdash plan? Her amateur hour undercuts scenes where she tries to big-time the Thunderbolts or cosplay Tony Stark, standing at the Avengers Tower bar offering drinks. It's not just funny, it borders on silly. And why on earth hire a secretary as green and leaky as Margot, a character the film barely needs? Fortunately, you can mostly overlook this budget Nick Fury, since Fontaine's role isn't central, and you probably should, if you want to fully enjoy the payoff in the finale. Because yes, after a second act that's a mixed bag, Thunderbolts lands a finale that's emotional and, frankly, one of the MCU's most complete throwdowns in a while. It's not just satisfying because it looks and sounds great. Schreier actually delivers what he promised at the start, a battle against darkness, literally and metaphorically. Hard to discuss without spoilers, but know this. The sequence is inventive, purposeful, and most importantly, crystal clear about its theme. Everyone should speak up about their burdens and accept help. Just as these anti-heroes alone are easy to snap, but together they offset one another's flaws perfectly. Swap in any other Avengers lineup, and New York might not be saved. It had to be these fallen figures to unlock Sentry. By curtain call, I was almost willing to forgive a healthy number of earlier script holes. If you need a benchmark, Thunderbolts gets a moment as epic as the Guardians of the Galaxy, linking hands to hold the Power Stone back in the day. On the action visuals front, it seems Kevin Feige really listened to fans' gripes. There's almost none of the shoddy CGI we saw in Thor, Love and Thunder, or Captain America 4. Thunderbolts' imagery is polished. Ghost and Sentry's power showcases are artfully mounted. The darker palette fits the story, and even a quick Red Room flash in Yelena's mind is both frightening and memorable. Bottom line, Thunderbolts is worth seeing. The team's effort deserves credit. Aside from Bucky, most of these characters come from some of the MCU's less beloved films. Making this supporting cast genuinely engaging is a win, and that's thanks to a script with real intent. It's not on James Gunn's level of idiosyncrasy, but the passion is undeniable, something fans will appreciate. Thunderbolts is easily one of Marvel's more meaningful entries, and even more meaningful arriving just when the studio needs a morale reset after a string of stumbles. Hopefully, with this uptick, we'll get the cathartic showdown with Doctor Doom we've been waiting for. And that's Filmers' take on the summer blockbuster from the biggest cinematic universe on Earth. What about you? Does Thunderbolts deserve the glowing notices it's getting on review sites? Drop your thoughts below so we can dig in together. For now, goodbye, and enjoy the movie.